On page 37 of your grammar packet, we're going to talk about how we use antes de and después de with verbs. When antes de and después de are followed by a verb, we'll always leave that verb in the infinitive. Remember that an infinitive is a verb that is not conjugated. In other words, it still ends in AR. For example, yo como el desayuno antes de salir para la escuela en la mañana. I eat breakfast before leaving for school in the morning. Notice that after antes de, we leave salir in the infinitive. Still has the IR. A second example, ellos miran la televisión después de hacer la tarea. They watch television after doing homework. Notice that after después de, we leave hacer in the infinitive. We leave the Spanish verb in the infinitive, even though it isn't a direct translation in English. So to translate "we play video games before starting our homework" would translate to nosotros jugamos los videojuegos antes de empezar la tarea. Leave empezar in the infinitive because it follows antes de. Another example, he studies for the quiz after practicing soccer. Estudia para la prueba después de practicar el fútbol. Leave practicar in the infinitive because it follows después de. On page 38 of your grammar packet, we're going to talk about reflexive verbs. And these are going to go along with words that we would use to talk about our daily routine. Reflexive verbs are a little bit different from just a regular verb. Reflexive verbs are verbs where the person doing and receiving the action are the same. So you're going to recognize these verbs because they're going to end in se. They'll still have an AR, ER, IR, but after the AR, ER, IR, you'll see se. To conjugate reflexive verbs, we pretty much do the same thing, but we have to do something with the se. So the steps to conjugating a reflexive verb: first, we take the se off. Second, we move it in front of the infinitive. We can't just get rid of it. Then we have to change the se to match the subject of the sentence. I, you, he, she, and then we conjugate the verb. And these 4 steps are going to be the same no matter what tense we're conjugating it. Present tense, preterite tense, future tense, it won't matter. So this is what we can change the se to. Me, te, we can leave it as se, or nos. So me means myself. Te means yourself. Se can mean himself, herself, or yourself. Nos means ourselves. And se can also mean yourselves or themselves. So if we take a look at a few examples, if I want to conjugate afeitarse in the yo form, I would take the se off, move it in front of the infinitive, change the se to me because me matches yo, and then I would conjugate afeitar like normal, and I would get me afeito. For vestirse, in the ellos form, I would move the se in front, and I can leave it because se matches ellos, and then I would conjugate the verb vestir like normal, visten. So my full conjugation would be se visten. Ponerse, in the nosotros form, I would take the se off, move it in front of poner, and it would change to nos because nos matches nosotros, and then I would conjugate poner. So my full conjugation would be nos ponemos. On page 39 of your grammar packet, we're going to look at what we do with reflexive verbs when we have the 2-verb rule. So the 2-verb rule, remember, is when we conjugate the first verb and we leave the second verb in the infinitive. Now, if the second verb is a reflexive verb, it ends in se, we're going to leave the se attached, but we're still going to need to change the se to match the subject of the sentence. So for example, if we wanted to say, the students have to wake up early tomorrow, we would translate this To los estudiantes tienen que despertarse temprano mañana. I have the to-verb rule because I have tienen que. So I can leave the se attached to despertar. And in this case, I don't need to change it because se matches los estudiantes. We need to go to sleep when we are sick. Necesitamos dormirnos cuando estamos enfermos. I have the to-verb rule here, so I conjugated necesitar. And then I can leave the se attached to dormir, but I need to change it to nos because nos matches we. And the last example, you should have dressed in formal clothing for the dance. Tú debiste vestirte en ropa formal para el baile. Debiste is my conjugated verb, and then I have vestir. The se stays attached, and I change it to te because te matches to.